Hi everybody, this is Finding Winnie by Lindsay Mattick. Could you tell me a story? Asked Cole. It's awfully late. It was long past dark and time to be asleep. What kind of story? You know, a true story. One about a bear. So we cuddled up close. I'll do my best, I said. A very long time ago, about 100 years before you were born, there was a veterinarian who lived in Winnipeg, and his name was Harry Colburn. A vegetarian? Said Cole. Bear doesn't like vegetables. A veterinarian. It means an animal doctor. I know that, Cole said. That's what I'm going to be when I grow up. If a horse had the hiccups or a cow had a cough, Harry knew how to make them feel just right. Harry's hands were never cold, even in Winnipeg, where most winters are so frosty that icicles grow on the insides of your nose. That was just the kind of doctor he was. But a day came when Harry had to say goodbye to Winnipeg. There was a war, far, far away, beyond the end of the country, on the other side of the ocean, and he was going to help. He would be caring for the soldiers' horses. Harry rode east on a train full of other soldiers. He leaned his head against the window, watching the land scroll by, wondering what it would be like to be so far from home. The train rolled right through dinner and over the sunset and around 10 o'clock, into a nap and out of the next day, until it stopped at a place called White River. Harry decided to stretch his legs. On the train platform was a man on a bench with a baby. A baby, Cole? Said Cole, annoyed. A baby bear. A cub. Harry stopped. It's not every day that you see a bear cub at a train station. That bear has lost his mother, he thought, and that man must be the trapper who got her. What do trappers do? Asked Cole. It's what they don't do. They don't raise bears. Raise them? You know, I said, love them. Harry thought for a long time, and then he said to himself, there is something special about that bear. He felt the inside of his pocket and said, I shouldn't. He paced back and forth and said, I can't. But then his heart made up his mind, and he walked up to the trapper and said, I'll give you $20 for that bear. Is $20 a lot? Asked Cole. Back then, I said, it was more than a lot. Captain Colburn, said the colonel on the train as the little bear sniffed at his knees, we are on a journey of thousands of miles, heading into the thick of battle, and you propose to bring this most dangerous creature? The bear stood straight up on her hind legs as if to salute the colonel. The colonel stopped speaking at once, and then, in a quite different voice, he said, Oh, hello. The men of Harry's regiment squeezed by to have a look. I've decided to name her Winnipeg, Harry told them, so we'll never be far from home. Winnie for short. They had a very long way to travel, and had already gone 3 or 4 feet when Winnie grew hungry. What do bears eat? The men wondered. What don't they eat? Said Harry. Vegetables, Cole reminded me. Winnie ate vegetables, I said. She ate everything except onions. They brought her carrots and potatoes and apples and tomatoes and eggs and beans and bread and a tin of fish and some slop in a dish. But Winnie was still hungry. How about dessert? Said Harry, holding up a little bottle of condensed milk. Taking the treat in her paws, Winnie lay on her back and hummed a happy song as she drank. The men roared. Harry and Winnie gathered the soldiers from all over Canada in the green fields of Valkier. The whole city of tents had spread up. One was a hospital for horses. That's where Harry went to work. Winnie was in the army now. Harry had taught her to stand up straight and hold her head high and turn this way and that, just so. Soon she was assigned her own post. Even the colonel agreed that Winnie was a remarkable bear. She might have been the best navigator in the whole army. If you hid something, could she find it? She could. What if she was further away? And further still. Remarkable, he cried. In the evenings, both of them were too tired to move. When Harry thought about Winnie and the voyage across the ocean, his head said, I shouldn't. His head said, I can't. But his heart made up his mind. Nobody had ever tried to float so many people and animals across the Atlantic Ocean before. 30 ships sailed together, carrying 36,000 men and 7,500 horses, and one bear named Winnie. When they finally arrived in England, the regiment went on training in the Salisbury Plain, where it rained and rained and rained, but Winnie didn't seem to mind. She was the mascot of the 2nd Canadian Infantry Brigade. and she attended her post with vigor. One day, Harry came running while she was doing her exercises in the tent. "You'll bring the whole place down," he said. With a laugh, she had grown. It was winter when the order came. It had come time to fight. Winnie posed proudly with the men for pictures to send home for their families. Harry thought for a long time. His head argued one way and then the other, but his heart made up his mind. He went to Winnie and said in a serious way, "There's somewhere we need to go." Winnie brushed the mud off her nose and nuzzled in close. And Harry drove all the way to the big city. "Here we are," said Harry, "the London Zoo." Harry took a deep breath. "Winnie, this is going to be your home for a while," he said. She tilted her head. "We're shipping out to France," he explained. "I have to take care of the horses at the front." She rested her big head against him. "I know you want to come, but it's not safe." Winnie's head bowed. Harry's hands were warm as sunshine, as usual. "There's something you must always remember," Harry said. "It's the most important thing, really. Even if we're apart, I'll always love you. You'll always be my bear." "Is that the end?" "That's the end of Harry and Winnie's story," I said. "But I don't want it to be over," said Cole. "Sometimes," I said, "you have to let one story end so the next one can begin." "How do you know when that will happen?" "You don't," I said, "which is why you should always carry on." Once upon a time, there was a little boy with a stuffed bear. He'd had this bear ever since he was a baby, but somehow the boy had never found the right name for him. He tried Teddy and Edward and even Big Bear. Then one day the boy went to visit the London Zoo with his father, and there was a bear, a real bear, on the terraces there. Right away the boy thought there was something special about that bear. Her name was Winnie. They had become true friends. The boy was allowed to come right inside her enclosure to play. Once the boy had found Winnie, he knew just what to call his stuffed bear, and he named it Winnie the Pooh. And the boy was called Cole, said Cole. His name was Christopher Robin Milne. Christopher Robin would visit Winnie at the zoo, and then they would take pictures of the stuffed animal and all sorts of adventures in the woods behind his home. His father, Alan Alexander Milne, wrote books about them. Harry's Winnie became Winnie the Pooh, and there has never been a more beloved bear. "But what about Harry?" Cole asked. When Harry visited Winnie at the zoo, he saw how happy she was, how she was being raised. She was truly loved. And that was all he ever wanted, from the moment they met at the train station in White River. So after the war, Henry returned to Winnipeg, to his life as an animal doctor. Before long, he was married and had a son named Fred, and Fred had a daughter named Laureen, and Laureen had a daughter named Lindsay, which is me, and then I had a son. And when I saw you, I thought there was something special about this boy, so I named you after your great-great-grandfather, Captain Harry Colburn. I named you Cole. "That's me," said Cole in a whisper. "That's you, and that's Winnie." "Yes," I said, "that's Winnie." "And it's all true?" "Sometimes the best stories are," I said. Cole's eyes grew big, and he said nothing for a long time. And then he hugged his own bear close and let out a yawn and reached far away, and they both turned over and fell asleep. Harry as a young soldier. Harry kept diaries throughout World War I. This was his diary from 1914, the first year of the war. The diary page from the day Harry found Winnie. On August 24th, 1914, he wrote, "Bought a bear, $20. 3 soldiers with Winnie at a post. Winnie and Harry have what appears to be a laugh and a snack. Harry and his fellow soldiers with their mascot, Winnie. This picture of Winnie and Harry inspired statues that now stand in Winnipeg and London. The statue in Winnipeg was unveiled in 1992. This official animal record card shows that Winnie began her stay at the London Zoo on December 9th, 1914. Then this photo was taken of Winnie and Christopher Robin in 1925 at the zoo after they became friends. Christopher Robin's father, A.A. Milne, watches them play from above. Lindsay and Cole in 2013. We knew there was something special about this boy. And that's the end.